Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So in this video, we're going to continue our 3.1. In this video, what we're going to learn is actually, we will describe the period and group. Okay, so, but then for this video, and for this chapter, again, we're going to apply, it's not only the previous knowledge that we have learned during our secondary school, we're going to apply some of our knowledge in chapter 2, quantum number itself. Okay, so now let's look for the notes on page 2. For those who written down your own notes, there's no need for you to redraw the periodic table. There's no need. The important bit is actually the sentences lah. And then this chapter is a lot of explanation lah. So you have to do a lot of writing. But then sebelum ni pun banyak juga kan kena tulis. So kita boleh. Okay, so here let's look for the case of period. So what is actually a period? Period is actually a horizontal row of element, which is known as period. So horizontal tu is actually this one. This is okay, I'm gonna use different color. This is what we call as horizontal. This one, this one. We have how many rows here? Okay, it's actually numbered from 1 to 7. So we have period 1 until period 7. Okay, so now what we're gonna apply, what we're gonna learn the new thing is actually for the period number itself. It could be determined by your principal quantum number of the electrons in the valence shell. Okay, and then here it mentioned that elements in the same period have an identical number of quantum level n. Okay, so here we mentioned that sodium 11, the electron is 11. So what is actually the electronic configuration? Dia adalah 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3s1. Betul tak? Okay. So, kamu balik, elektron dia 11. Okay. And then here chlorine. Chlorine 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. So, we have another 5 more, 3p5. Okay, as we can see, our valence electron, the valence shell is actually n equal to 3. Okay. So, actually from here we could determine actually our sodium and chlorine ni is actually in period 3. Betul ke? So, now let's look here. Kita tengok. Here is actually our sodium. Sodium memang period 3. Okay, chlorine. Chlorine pun period 3. Okay, so that's why lah for you, it's not important lah periodic table ni. Bukan lah it's not important. You have to know the number of proton. Once you know the number of proton, actually you can determine what is the period and group. Okay. So, but then we're going to look back at the notes itself. So, in this case, sodium and chlorine are in period 3. Okay. Why period 3? Because the highest principal quantum number of the valence electron shell is 3. Okay. Let's look. Previously kita ada belajar kan? So, contohnya dekat sini. Here. For example, our calcium here. So, calcium ni, contohnya, here, the highest N kita is N equal to 4. Is it true our calcium is actually in period 4? So, let's look. Balik dekat sini. Calcium. Calcium here, pada period 4. So, actually, based on the highest shell, highest principal quantum number, here that is actually you could determine the period based on your N. Okay. So that is actually for period. Okay. Kalau group, macam mana pula? Okay. So here it mentioned a vertical column of element is called a group. So contohnya here. Group lah ni. Here is group 1, group 2, 3 until 18. Okay. Here mentioned the groups are numbered from 1 to 18. Okay, group 1 is what we call as alkaline metals. Group 2, alkaline earth metals. If you be familiar, alkaline earth metal ni, you still remember? Yang kita belajar experimentary tu kan. Determine the molar mass of alkaline earth metal. Which is group 2. Group 3 until 12 is actually our transition metal. Ni transition metal kita. Group 16, 17 until 18, 16 ni calcogen, halogen, inert or noble gases. Okay. So, yang ini sebenarnya group 1. I'm just going to write down group 1 and 2 ni. If you still remember, it's actually our S block. Group 3 until 12 ni is actually our D block. Sebenarnya group 13 until 18 is actually our P block. Okay. So, let's look here. How to determine the group number? Kalau our period, we could determine from period number, we could determine from the end of our valence shell. Kalau group number is actually the number of valence electron. If the element is in block S and D, or group number, number of valence electron plus 10 if the element is in block P. Okay, so if your P block, you have to add 10. Why? Because actually here kat sini kan ada 10 group. Okay, so that's why we're going to add 10. Okay, why do I mention that we have to add 10? Okay, let's look for the, look at the example. But then, kita tengok kat sini dulu . Elements in the same group have the same number of valence electron. Okay, so valence electron kita, so kat sini kita tengok lithium. So it is actually 1s2, 2s1. Simplenya 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Okay, so dia kata elements in the same group have the same number of valence electron. Okay, so here as you can see, the valence electron for our lithium is 1. The same goes for our sodium pun 1 juga. So, dekat sini lithium and sodium are in group 1 because their valence electron is 1. Okay, is it true? So, tengok sini, our lithium dengan our sodium. Okay. So, contohnya, Miss nak ambil example of our aluminium ni. Okay, so this is actually aluminium. Okay. Contohnya aluminium. Here, I want to mention about the electronic arrangement tu. Why valence electron ni must plus 10 kalau P block. Okay, so kalau aluminium, is actually aluminium 13. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p1. Okay, so number of valence electron, again, masih yang highest end kita. So, 3s2, 3p1. So, valence electron kita ni is actually 3. Okay, but then, if you look back, if it's in, the valence electron is 3, so, the group must be 3 lah, miss. Okay, but then, if you look back, sebenarnya, aluminium kita ni, it's not actually pada group 3. And then, kalau kita tengok sini, dia it's actually n equal to 3. So, maknanya period 3. Lepas tu, dia must be in group 3. Tapi mana ada period 3 group 3? There's no element there. So, that's why kalau P block, what you're going to do is actually you're going to add 10. So, contohnya, sini maknanya aluminium 13 ni. So, group dia is not 3. Group dia adalah 13. Okay, is it true? Okay, again, dia punya period and dia n equal to 3, lepas tu group dia 13. Okay, n equal to 3, group dia must be 13. So sini, aluminium. Okay, so for P block, what you're gonna add is actually you're gonna add 10. So the valence electron ni, add in 10. Okay, so kalau D block ni macam mana? I'm just gonna take example of our vanadium tadi. Here is our vanadium. Copy. Okay, kalau vanadium, I'm just gonna write down tepi ni. Pun boleh. Okay, vanadium. So, the valence electron for the D block, 23V. Okay, it must be n-1, yang ni. n-1D, ns2. Yang ND ni, it would be any value lah from 1 until 10. So, here valence electron kita is actually 5. Okay, D block ni je lain sikit. Valence electron dia, kita akan tengok the D block plus dengan, plus with our S, the electron in D orbital and S orbital. So, number of electron, the valence electron dia 5. Okay. And then, ini period dia, so it means that it must be in group 5 lah. Okay, why 5? Because this is an example of D block. D block is actually we're going to take our valence electron. You're not going to add in any plus 10. Plus 10 ni only for P block. Okay, is it true vanadium ni group 5? Period dia apa? Period dia kita boleh tahu here, highest N. N equal to 4. Okay, N equal to 4, betul tak? Itu dia group 5. Group 5 here, masuk here. It is our vanadium. Okay, so that's it for our period and group. Okay, so here is actually the summary. So again, period is actually a horizontal row of element numbered from 1 to 7, and it depends on the highest principal quantum number N. Make sure highest principal quantum number yang N the highest lah. Okay, kalau block ni, it must depends on your valence electron. So kalau S block, NS1 to NS2, P block, include NS2 juga, but the NP tu starting from NP1 until NP6. D block must include our S block juga tau. Tapi yang ini paling penting ni N-1 D1, NS2 until lah N-1 D10 NS2. F block, we're not going to learn into detail. We just know that it's for F and 5F. Last but not least is actually the group, which is the vertical element, vertical column of element, numbered from 1 until 18. If the element is in block S dengan D, we're going to add in the number of valence electron just like that lah. For the block P, make sure a number of valence electron plus